always like to get differing points of view, and Pierre's is usually a lot different than mine. But anyway, he's my media brother, so it's always good to hear all different points of view. Don't you think so, Makeba?
Oh, absolutely. Right. Diversity is God's way of showing us his creativity.
Oh, that's a good quote. I like that. Say that one more time.
Diversity is God's way of showing his creativity.
Oh, okay. Sal, that's good.
Interesting.
All right, very good. Anyway, Sal Passalaqua, good to have you in the studio.
Good morning.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Sal, we hear you on the radio all the time with Craig-Flagler Palms Funeral Home, Memorial Garden, and do a great service here for families. You're part of the community, do all kinds of great things. Been here for a long time. How long have you been here?
Since 2006.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So we were here when you first started too.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
From the beginning.
I know. I can't believe it. It's been that long.
Yeah.
Here we are. Hey, my co-host today is Michelle Bartlome.
Good morning.
Because Brian is out today, and
I'm taking your spot today.
All right. we're having tryouts, Brian.
Uh-oh, Brian.
Thank you for the invite, David.
Yeah, of course. Today we're going to talk about a tough subject, and it's about death and dying and how we deal with it. There's been, like shock and awe kind of deaths, that thing was sparked with the Charlie Kirk thing where the whole country and whatever your political beliefs are, whatever you think to, it's just like some horrible things. And you talk to people and they're really depressed and downed out and kind of drained, and the whole world's going to, well, I have a chaplain with me, so I won't say the world is going to. Okay.
That's right.
I'll watch my behavior here today.
Watching it.
I know. Watch her. She's sitting right next to you. By the way, we're streaming live with studio cameras now. If you haven't in a while, you can see us. There's Michelle waving at everybody. And Makeba. And also we have Sal in the studio. So anyway, somebody new to town is Makeba.
Yes.
And she is a chaplain at AdventHealth. And
Yes.
so let's get to know you a little bit. Tell us about you.
Well, I just arrived at AdventHealth about 30 days ago, but I'm not new to chaplaincy. I've been doing this for over 10 years, so I'm coming fresh from Memphis, Tennessee. I was at Le Bonheur Children's Hospital doing bioethics, and so this is a breath of fresh air for me to be near the beach. So I'm so excited to be here. I have family right up the road in Jacksonville, so this is a job and a dream come true.
How'd you pick here? How'd you choose to get to Palm Coast?
Palm Coast chose me.
Oh, I love
that. Yes. Palm Coast chose me. So I wasn't even really looking for a job. I thought I was content. I thought everything was going the way it should go. Yeah. And then I got a call saying, "Are you interested?" And so I put my toe in the water, and then I found out, oh my, Palm Coast is a hidden gem. Yes, let me come.
All right. I love the excitement of people when they're new and they come here, because it kind of reminds me of how I felt, the first time. And so we welcome everybody, and
and that's what I like.
Yeah, and it's kind of a frontier town, like you say. It's kind of a hidden gem. A lot more people are finding it, and a lot of other people here wish nobody else would ever find it because they got it and they want to close the door. But those people we can't allow to control, because growth is a good thing.
Right. Growth is a good thing.
All right. Sal, tell a little bit about you here personally. That you came to town, to Palm Coast. Where are you from?
Yeah. Originally born and raised Staten Island, New York, via Fort Lauderdale to here to Palm Coast. Alan Wetzel, great friend of mine and mentor. We're former business partners together. So he brought me and Gina here, who you hear on the radio too, back in 2006. And I've been in the industry for 30 years. We were just talking out in the hallway, getting to know each other, and it's all I know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's been it's a calling. It's been a very good career to me, and I guess I do it well if I've been doing it for 30 years. Helped a lot of people.
How do you choose the industry? How do you feel like you fell into that?
It kind of chose me, I
Okay.
guess. Mom's family was in the business, uncles, cousins, and I worked there during high school breaks, like I was telling
Makeba.
Setting up flowers and setting chairs up, the way traditionally we used to do it. And then next thing, they were asking me to help dress the deceased and then go to the hospital. Wow. And I just kind of fell into it and been doing it ever since. Like I said, I think it's a calling. I left the industry mentally many times, but just kept coming back to it. Wow. And I think, you say, God has a way, and I think that was my way.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of a calling, and it's so much of helping people at the worst time in their lives. Many times that they have the need. Hey, also joining us here in a little bit will be Rhonda Richardson. She's a psychiatric nurse practitioner with Sunshine Psychiatric Care here in Palm Coast. And so kind of overall here, let me lay out where we're going with this Free for All Friday.
Yeah.
I want to talk about how we can actually prepare for the death of somebody, a loved one. And some people might think this is kind of weird, but also a pet, a dog. I mean, I don't know about you.
That's not weird.
But to me, like when you have to go take your dog in and put it to sleep or whatever, it's such a humane type of thing. Can't do that with people though, which that'll be a whole different show on, but anyway, we'll have you back for that, Sal. Okay.
But you're right. Grief does hit us in different areas, and even with our fur babies.
Right.
So that is very true. So yes, making mention of that it's important.
So I want to talk about how we can prepare for that mentally, and or can you? Also, I want to talk about how can we in a healthy way deal with something that's a loss and depressing and a tragedy, and realize where we are with it. How can we help other people get through those times? And to me, it's always been a struggle of. I hate the cliches like, thoughts and prayers. It doesn't really mean anything. It's overused. And so what is the right thing or the best thing to say to people at what time? So we want to talk about that this morning. And also, what are the stages of dealing with grief and loss and when is it not healthy where people they get stuck in the depression and they just can't get out of it, and they're crying every day, maybe years later after the death of somebody. And, so what is a healthy timeline to get through it? And then when and where should we actually seek help, whether it be psychiatric help, maybe help with, with your
Grief
faith
support
or
groups,
something.
Yep.
And also, what kind of support does Craig-Flagler Palms offer people? So let's start with that. Okay, like day one, there's a death in the family. They come to the door of Sal Passalaqua here. What happens? Where do you start?
Well, most of the time it starts, with a phone call, or they come in, or hopefully, like you're talking about planning ahead, hopefully they have prearrangements and they're preparing themselves that way mentally that they're going to lose a loved one, which helps a lot when you do prepare ahead of time because you're making all those decisions, if you want to say with a clear mind, instead of walking in right away, you just lost your loved one. And you have to make all these decisions right away. So we do promote that you do the pre-arrangements ahead of time, and that kind of helps.
When people come in and make a pre-arrangement, a lot of people put out buying life insurance because they don't even want to think about dying,
Right.
Which is horrible. But to actually physically go to the funeral home and sit down with Sal and say, "Oh my gosh," I mean, I can see resistance. Like, okay, we'll do that someday, but not today.
Correct. Yeah, a lot of times that happens. I see people a lot of times. They look, "We have to come and see you, Sal." And like, "Yeah, you said that last year, and you said that the year before."
That's right.
And it's not a priority until they actually face it, meaning they have a neighbor or a friend or a relative in their family that has a death, and then they say, "Well, we do have to go and do that."
Yeah.
It is always the wife or the woman that pushes their spouse to go and do it. But I can tell you that I've been with a lot of families doing this 30 years. It's a huge relief and weight off their shoulders once they do it. Yes, the initial first step of it is very hard to face your mortality, but once they do it, it's lifted off their shoulders. They know that they can, go on with life and not have to worry if something happens to them.
Yeah.
The plans are made. They've spoken their last word. They know what they want to have happen, so their spouse or children, whomever their survivors are, don't have to worry. So,
And that's a gift to your family.
Yes.
When you have those conversations early on, before the sickness, before you're emotionally tense or drained, having the conversation of what you actually would want. So that when the person makes the decision, hospital bedside or at the home on hospice, whatever the case may be, they know that they're honoring their loved one versus trying to make those decisions in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And so it makes a huge difference. One of the things that I've always tried to do is reach out to churches and have those conversations where we go through advanced directives and we get detailed, right? Do you want certain people in the room when you're dying? Do you want a certain fragrance? Do you want water? What are the details of what you would want? And that's what we call a good death. A good death is one that you have planned. We plan for everything else in life.
Yep.
And so why not plan for the inevitable?
Exactly. Yeah.
In life, we die.
Yeah. And we call it the gift of love when you're prearrangements, the gift of love. And also it's your last word, right? Everybody likes to have the last word.
Right.
That's your last word. And that's the way to do it.
Absolutely.
But again, it is a huge burden lifted off of the family shoulders, and you just go on.
What does it look like? What does pre-planning include?
It includes sitting down with the folks, whoever the couple is or person, and having that conversation. Do you want burial? Do you want cremation? Do you want to go to church? Do you not want to go to church? So we kind of plan it out that way. If they're a veteran, do you have military honors? Making sure they have all of those documents available when the death occurs so that we can take care of the veterans' benefits that they have. So that's really it's just planning. Again, it is planning all of those answers to those questions that Chaplain was just talking about.
I would imagine when you walk out, after having this meeting and things, probably you ask things that people hadn't even thought of.
Right.
But I imagine there would be a big relief, like, wow, I'm glad don't have to do that again.
Yeah, no, there is. It's a huge relief. Like I said, it's a one time, they get it done. And I've sat with families who don't do prearrangements, and, you sit there with the survivors, whether it's the spouse or the children, and you ask them, what did mom or dad want to have, burial or cremation? And they don't know because they didn't have the conversation. So not only are they grieving the death of their loved one, now they're having to make a decision. Am I making the right decision?
Right.
And then they have to live with that. Well, did mom want cremation or burial? And am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
And they're questioning themselves, and there is no answer. They're just kind of rolling the dice, and then they have to live with that. I did cremation, but did mom really want cremation?
Right.
What is the you got two choices, right? You got cremation or you got burial. There's no third?
No, there isn't.
Not yet. Not yet.
No. No. Well, cremation, you have a lot of other I should say options. Burial is a disposition, cremation is a disposition. With cremation, what do you do with the ashes afterwards?
Right.
And there's numerous amounts of options.
Yeah. So what is the reason why they go, what are the main reasons why people would choose cremation over burial or the other way around?
Number one, with cremation, obviously people think that it's less expensive, and it's really not. You got to kind of compare apples to apples, make sure you get what you're paying for. And sometimes it's travel. We live in a transient state, Florida, right? We have a lot of snowbirds. So cremation is we can cremate mom or dad and then take them with us. So, you become mobile that way. And then with burial, it could be tradition, religion. Those are really
That's
the reasons
interesting
why
with
people go that
religion.
way.
Is there any? What's the Bible say about what does Jesus say? Should we get buried or cremated or he doesn't care?
So there is not an exclusive text saying, but I know there are some people that say since hell is a place where people are going to be burned, they do not want to participate in cremation. It is not biblical either way. You have a lot of world religions that do burn. And that's the way they want to do it because that's how they figure that they're honoring the body and releasing the soul because the ashes rise up. But the other thing with cremation is that you can divide the ashes. And so if you have multiple family members, you can have a pennant with ashes from mom or grandma. So that's another reason why I hear people say that they want to go with cremation along with it being less expensive.
Correct. Yeah. And also, too, if they're out of state and maybe the family has a burial plot in another state, it's expensive to transport a human body that way. So it's easier to transport if you cremate somebody, like Chaplain said, and you can take a portion of the ashes and bring them back to the home state and bury them there, or scatter them, or they make you into a diamond today. They can send you into space. So a lot of options.
Wait.
Burial.
All the things.
Going into space.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go back to the diamond.
Yeah. Yes.
How does that happen?
So they do make diamonds nowadays from ashes, high pressure.
Wow.
They're like cultured diamonds. They can do it from hair too. So it's the carbon, obviously, from us. And it's over time. It takes about a year to do it, and it either comes out a blue diamond, or it does come out not absolutely clear, but it is clear.
Wow.
But yeah, they're cultured diamonds, and they're becoming very popular nowadays, believe it or not.
I had never even heard of that yet.
Yes.
All right, and let's go to outer
now
space.
we're going to space?
Okay.
Space, yeah.
So you can pay a fee, and the space shuttle will drop you off in orbit, or
and
what?
hitch a ride. Yeah. So what they do is they take a small portion of the ashes, and they'll put it on a satellite or something that's going up. Gene Roddenberry, Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
He's up there, and then I think there's another actor or actress from Star Trek that they went into space too as well. So yeah, it's just a small portion. They send you in space, and then
That's cool.
orbit
Wow.
up there. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, see, I'm learning a lot here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sal.
We even have underwater cemetery, our Neptune Reef down off the coast of Key Biscayne, Miami. You can have your ashes placed down there too as well.
So,
Very interesting.
All right. Okay. Well, very good. And then also you have at your memorial gardens, you
Yes.
have a place where you
Yes.
can put the ashes.
Yeah,
in.
we have a lot of options. Benches. We have these pedestals, which are really great, where they have these toppers, and they can sculpture anything out of granite. It's unbelievable what some of these sculpture artists can do. They'll do sailfish, they'll do motorcycles, anything, just to, again, show the personality of that person who passed away.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So a lot of options at our cemetery for cremation and obviously for burial or entombment.
And you know, and this is all part of getting past the grief and the sorrow and the depression and things like that, which is so important. But and what about faith here? When everybody's from a scale of 1 to 10 has different religious beliefs and what they believe, and sometimes they're a 10, sometimes they're a 5 and a 1, and it depends on what day or week or kind of like what's going on with it. But imagine you see people where when they lose somebody, they feel their faith has betrayed them. Why did God do this to?
Right.
Why did
Yes,
he take this
that
person?
is a question that happens, especially in the peds world, when a child dies before their parent, because that's unnatural, right? A parent shouldn't have to bury their child, and so I've had that question, and in the faith world, in the religion world, there is a space of just being present with them and not trying to answer that, because we don't have the answers. It is a mystery. Bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. That's just the way it is. And so sometimes we don't have all the answers. And I think that's the best part about being a chaplain. You're not there to proselytize. You're not trying to convince them. And especially when someone is grieving, the best thing I can give them is not a prayer, but ministry of presence. That means I'm just coming along beside them, and I'm letting them know that they're not alone. I'm encouraging them to cry. I'm allowing them to be. And that is so important. I hear a lot of times people say, I just want to be strong. I don't want to cry anymore. I just feel as if I'm losing it. And I allow them that space. Do what you need to do. There are many days that I will go to the hospital, and if a patient is dying, they may... One example, I'll give you one example. I had patients across the hall from them. They both were grieving, and culturally, we grieve differently. So I had a stoic family. They were sad and they were quiet, and they had their priests come in. And then across the hall, I had a Pentecostal family, and they were singing and rejoicing and celebrating life, and they were loud. And so you have these two families experiencing grief, but handling it in different ways. So as far as faith is concerned, I just want to be present, make no judgments, and let them know that they're okay. Release the tears.
It's always awkward to me of what to say.
Yeah.
At what time do you... when you hear of something, from somebody you love and you care about and the family, and it's human nature, I think, when you see somebody hurting or feeling bad, we want to help. But, and you say, oh, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers,
Right.
thoughts and prayers. It almost irritates me.
Let me know if I can do
when hear
anything
that.
for you.
Yeah. I mean, but what else do you say?
Right.
What are the right things to say? What, or help
Say
help
the
us.
person's name. Say the loved one who died. Say their name. It is okay to say the name and encourage the person that you're with. I want to hear more about them. I want to hear about your loved one. Do you feel like talking about them? What was a happy occasion? What was a sad occasion? What makes you laugh? Rehearse some of the memories with them because that's going to be important. When you're in the thick of grief, one of the things that is going on psychologically and mentally is, will I forget their voice? Will I forget how they made me feel? Will I forget the special times that we shared? And so our society has taught us to shut down and to withdraw. And so it's easy to say what you just said, prayers and thoughts. It's easy to say that because you feel like you've checked off a box, but it is insultful. It's an insult. And so what ends up happening is say their name, allow that person the space to say their name and to rehearse with you. Rituals are so important. So even if you stop by the house with a dish, a casserole dish, right? Just stopping by and letting them know you're there. If you see something, do it. If you see a plant that needs watering, go to the kitchen and water it for them. Be present. Sometimes it's not in what we say, it's what we do. And we need to continue to show up. We need to continue to encourage them. We need to continue to be a shoulder for them to lean on. But say the person's name. Don't ignore them and act like it didn't happen. They're experiencing something.
But at the same time, it's like, oh my God, there's somebody else at the door with another lasagna. I mean, so how do you know?
Right.
When is the right time or what to do, or maybe they want to be left alone.
And so I always tell the people that are experiencing grief, have a bodyguard, have someone that's your armor bearer, that's going to stand guard and let the other people know what you need. They come to the door for you. She's not accepting guests right now. Thank you for the dish. You can do whatever you want to do with the dish.
What about all those phone calls and text messages? What do you do with those?
Turn the phone off.
Right? Because it's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. It is overwhelming for some people.
Right.
For me, myself, I loved getting the phone calls. My father died 3 years ago from ALS, and he had a 5-year battle. So every phone call that came in, every text that came in, it was a reminder of how popular he was, how kind he was, the impact that he had. So for me, I welcomed it. But I understand there are some people that they shut down and they don't need all the extra attention.
Right. Should the primary person, maybe Sal, this comes back to you with pre-planning, say if the wife, because then thinks, okay, well, here's the pre-planning for the guy that died, but here's his wife, I mean, would that be a time for them to say, I would just, we do want to hear from people, or we don't want to, I mean, or can you even make that decision in advance?
When we come and meet with people that have pre-arrangements, again, they have a direction about what the family wants to do. And they still go through grief. It doesn't mean just because they have pre-arrangements that they're not going to grieve, their loved one. Sometimes it's even worse too, because now they're facing the fact they've been preparing themselves all along, but now it's really like in their face, and they're facing the fact that they did lose their spouse. So it becomes a little difficult that way.
Makeba, you were relating to your father's, death, and you welcomed all that.
Yeah.
Did you let people know that, hey, because it's almost like you're waiting. You want a sign like, how can I help? Yeah. And it would be helpful if I heard, from the family or whatever saying, hey, we would love to, hear from you, or we'd love for you to send us a text. I mean, that seems kind of cold, I guess, but how do you communicate to all these people that want to help you how to help you?
So that is a great question. How do you communicate to all those that want to help you? So for us, we had a family chat group that we sort of made assignments, right? So my sister is going to do this role. My brother is going to do this role. My aunt is going to do this role. My stepmom did a certain role. So we put the information out based upon our assignments. And so that was what we did. But back to what you asked Sal about the pre-planning. In an advanced directive, you have some spaces where you can literally say who you want, who you don't want, what you don't want. So like my husband knows, like if I'm at the end of my life, there are certain people that I want to remain seen the way I was seen throughout life, right? I love my lipstick. I love to, I love my beauty, right? And so there are certain people that I'm okay with them seeing me without all of that. But there are others, so he knows, right? And there are certain rituals that I have, right? Please make sure that my mustache doesn't grow out, hubby, okay? So have someone there to wax me, right? So those are important things that you put in writing so that your loved one would know. Because would my husband know that automatically? Probably not.
Probably not.
Would you know automatically as a husband? Probably not.
Yeah.
So we do make space for that in advanced directives.
And nowadays at the hospital, that's something that every patient's asked when they're coming in, correct?
Absolutely. Do you have an advanced directive? Right. Would you mind someone coming and sitting with you and helping you fill that out? And so taking the time to make space for that. And a lot of times people, there's a lot of superstition. If I talk about death, then I'm bringing death on. And I try to reiterate that, no, that's not what it is. It's just planning. Just like you plan a good vacation, you can plan a good death.
When you're rounding in the hospital, how do you know which rooms to go to?
So we have a census. And the census allows us to know which patients are new. And so there is a time manner which we have to reach them. So within 24 hours, we want to have a chaplain to visit them.
One quick question, then we're going to take a break, and we're going to go talk to our psychiatric sunshine, Rhonda, here in a minute. But at the funeral itself, Sal, I've always, it's like, oh, hey, everybody's coming in, you're greeted, and it's so awkward.
Yeah.
What do you say? Like eye contact? Do I, what should you or shouldn't you say at the funeral itself with people mingling and trying to be kind of social? I mean, that's probably one of the most awkward social situations I can even imagine. What are some good things you've heard people say?
That's hard, because there really isn't one thing that you don't say or one thing that you do say. I would say just like Chaplain said, say their name, keep their memory alive. We were talking out in the lobby early before we came on, and the one thing I said to her, and I say to a lot of people, whether I'm directing a funeral or just people I know who lost a loved one, is the one thing death took away, your friend or your spouse or your brother or sister, but the one thing death can't take is the memories, right? So we have to keep those, whether it's the memories in your head, the memories on your photos on your phone, whatever that is. Just talk about it, and that's what we do now. When Chaplain and I were talking, is the traditional funeral is kind of gone. That rows of chairs and sitting there in dark clothing and mourning, that's not what we're doing nowadays. The industry's changed. We're celebrating life. It's now life celebration. So we're celebrating the life, still mourning the death, but that's not what's in the forefront. We're celebrating that person's life, their accomplishments, what they left behind, and who they were.
All right, very good. Hey, we got to take a break, and we'll be back, and we'll get some psychological advice here on the stages of the phases of grief and depression and recovery, and what's the timeline, and what's healthy and what's not. And so how we can help people with that. So we'll take a break, and we will be right back in the studio right now. Makeba Garrison, she's our new chaplain at AdventHealth. Sal Passalaqua, been here a while. He's our funeral guy at Craig-Flagler Palms. Also, we have our co-host, or trying out to be co-host, Michelle Bartlome, and we'll be joining Rhonda Richardson right after we return.
Your do-it-yourself website isn't cutting it, champ. ComcoastWebsites.com builds you a pro site in 14 days or less. Guaranteed. Don't love it? Don't pay. ComcoastWebsites.com, because your website shouldn't look like it was built on dial-up. ComcoastWebsites.com.
Need help navigating through the mortgage process? I'm here for you. This is Mike Akialis with American Home Mortgage Group in Flagler Beach, serving the community for over 22 years. Call me 793-5435 or find me online at michael.mortgage.
Hi folks, Bill Gallagher with SolarFit here. Have you ever thought about utilizing solar power for your home or business? Well, there's never been a better time to plug into the sun and stop renting electricity. How would you like to let your roof start paying you each month? Give us a call at 445-7606. That's 445-7606, or visit us at solarfit.com and set yourself free.
SolarFit your life and set yourself free with the sun's free energy.
Tired of waiting for your home to sell? Evolve Property Group is not your average real estate company, specializing in property management and real estate investors, navigating complex sales transactions, maximizing cash flow, managing tenants, rent collection, even evictions. Visit evolvepg.co. evolvepg.co.
Are you wondering if that old paint in your garage is still any good?
Bring it in. We'll let you know.
And while you're at it, if you need to match a color,
chip off some paint and bring it in.
Our color matching is unmatched.
Benjamin Moore, corner of Old Kings and Utility Drive.
Palm Coast.
We're back, Free for All Friday. We're talking about, you horrible stuff like death and dying, and what's the best way to deal with it, and what do you say, and when, and it's a reality of life. The price for life is death, I guess.
That's right.
Is that a pretty harsh thing to say, or not really?
It's realistic.
But it's like the more you talk about it and the more you think about it, it's and what about, like, what do you tell kids about it? Like when
That's what we were just chatting about
Really?
in the break.
Yeah, like, I can remember as a little kid going to my grandfather's funeral.
Exactly.
And that's what sticks in my mind. Been to a lot of them since then.
And how do you say the right things to a child to be able to understand what's actually happening? And that's what Sal was just mentioning with us.
Well, hey, I'm going to bring in I'm going to bring in Rhonda Richardson.
Hello, Rhonda.
Hey, Rhonda, are you there?
Hi, Rhonda.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Have you been listening to what's going on?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
anyway, right now we're just talking about how do you prepare, ourselves. We were talking about that and our but what about kids?
Right.
How do you explain to kids, what it is without scaring them, I guess, or I don't know. So Rhonda Richardson with Sunshine Psychiatric Care, our psychiatric nurse practitioner. Oh, by the way, she was going to be in the studio, but she's not feeling that well. So thank you for taking our call.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to join in virtually. Kids, they understand things differently based on what age they are. So it's just important to use age-appropriate language with them, but I think it's important to be honest. You don't want to say Grandpa's sleeping. I think you can tell them the truth in an age-appropriate way, so that they're getting used to death from a young age. Because the reality is, they're going to be experiencing it. It's something that we all go through. So it's important to be honest.
When I was a kid, I was because here was the prayer, right? Now I lay me down to sleep, pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die
before I wake,
that's right.
I pray the Lord. I would be
My soul
scared
to
to death to go to sleep because is that a good prayer? I'll ask the chaplain that one.
Listen, some of the nursery rhymes, when you reflect back on them, it's like, what were they putting into our little minds at such a young age? No, I don't necessarily like the prayer, but I understand the intention of the prayer, right? We wanted our souls to be saved. So if I would die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Yes, I recall that prayer as well.
Okay. All right. Well, so be honest with your kids that want to move on from that, and just say this is it, and I guess in a kind of matter of fact tone of voice, Rhonda.
I mean, you just want to be honest, you don't want to say, Grandpa's sleeping, because that can unlock a whole new set of fears for the child. But based on their age, Grandpa died, which means his body stopped working, and he's not going to come back. So we're not going to see him anymore, but we can still remember him and love him. And, it doesn't have to be this scary thing.
Mm-hmm. When people come to you as a patient, well, let's first of all talk about grief and sorrow and depression and all these kind of emotional things. There's probably, nothing more devastating than the death of somebody that we love. What's healthy about the way we feel or unhealthy?
I mean, grief is complex. There's no one right way to grieve, right? It's going to look different for everybody. So I think it's just important to normalize, the way you're feeling is normal. It's understandable. Like this isn't fair, and just kind of not running from it, right? Like feeling the feelings and sitting with it and learning how to move forward from it,
Mm-hmm.
Not running from it.
Yeah. Is there a timeline where it's okay to feel bad and horrible and feel betrayed by your faith? And I imagine every single human being in our brain, emotion can come into play at a time like that, and it's very complicated. How do we get out of that? What are the phases of the initial impact of it through? Then where do we kind of walk us through it, if you could, on what's a good way to get out of that?
Yeah, so there are 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. So while, most people will move through the 5 stages in some capacity, it's not mandatory. Sometimes we'll jump back and forth from one stage to the next. But like I said, it's important to recognize these are normal feelings, right? Because death is not fair. Someone that we love is being taken from us. So yeah, we're gonna feel angry and depressed, and I think it's just important to talk about our feelings, and if we're not okay, reaching out to our support system. But there's no timeline, because everybody does grieve differently. Yeah. But time really is a healer, and I find that time, not that it takes the pain away, it just makes it easier for us to cope with it.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking earlier about what you say to someone. So they're going through this, and we kind of mentioned, what's the right reaction? What's the right statement that you give back? What do you recommend? You're hearing this from lots of folks. What do you recommend that we say?
So we often get caught up in that, right? We want to say the perfect thing, when the reality is there's really no perfect thing to say, because it's not going to take the pain away. So I find that your presence is powerful. Just letting the person know, I'm so sorry you're going through this. I'm here for you in any way that you need me to be. Just letting them know that you're there can often, help significantly.
And Chaplain Makeba, she said that say the person's name. If we can say, and I'm just doing my own therapy here, right? But I'm I'm so sorry you're going through this. Bob was such a great guy. Just something that simple, maybe.
Yeah.
Sal, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it is. I always, again, there's not the right or wrong thing to say, but, when I talk with families on the phone, the first thing I say to them when they call or they come in the door with a death, my first thing is always my condolences to you on the loss of your loved one. Mm-hmm. That's really, really it. You understand what they're going through. I lost my dad 5 years ago. Am I still grieving? Sure I am. But I'm in the acceptance of it. It's been 5 years. Do I miss him? Yes. Mm-hmm. But I still have his memory. So that's the one thing that keeps him alive for me, is the memories themselves. But like you said, David, very simple. Even when I know people who die, and I'm in the funeral business 30 years, it's awkward for me. It really is, because you know what? I'm on the other side of the table, or I'm in those shoes. I'm not in the funeral director mode. Now I'm kind of just the normal average guy who has a friend or family member who lost somebody. I sometimes don't even know what to say to them. But, again, my condolences to you, or your dad was a great person. Your mom was a wonderful person. And remember those memories. and get that smile on that person's face, and tell those stories, right? Chaplain,
Yeah,
just tell the stories.
it's about creating a new normal, because you will experience a hole in your heart and a space where they no longer occupy, and so there'll be triggering events that will last, right? And so it's important to understand that when you are with someone who is actively grieving, they freshly just lost someone, that your presence is the gift, right? Yeah. To let them know that they are not alone and that you are there with them to create this new normal. They want to do things that they used to do with their loved one, or maybe they don't want to do them and they get stuck. And so when we talk about unresolved grief, that's when someone has placed it deep down. They tucked it so deep away that they don't even know that they're suffering in the way that they're suffering emotionally. So it is important to have people around you that will help you create new memories, help you reminisce about the old memories, but allow you to share the story. That's what life is. It's a series of stories. And so it's healing when you get to tell your story. It's healing when I sit with a widow and she goes back to the day that she met her spouse, how he swept her off her feet, and the spark was there and it never left over those 50 years of marriage. That's powerful. And giving people that space is the gift that they need. And there's healing in that. But when I feel as if I'm muted, if I feel as if I have to be a certain place by a certain time, then I'm not honoring myself, and I'm no longer honoring my loved one. There's a good book that I want to recommend that everyone read. It's called It's Okay to Die. It's by an emergency physician, Dr. Monica Williams Murphy. Her mother was dying, and her mother was telling her how she wanted to die. And she kept just pushing her off. Like, I don't want to talk about that, Mom. I don't want to talk about that, Mom. And her mother kept insisting, no, we're going to sit down and we're going to have this talk. And what she learned from that talk was that it is okay to die. It's okay to plan your death. And it's okay to talk about death. And that was a gift. That book is so powerful because it takes us through the history of America. I don't know, we're probably, none of us are old enough to remember when the body was in your home. When someone died, they were in your parlor, right? In the front of your house. And people, the wake was at your home. And so death was normal. You had farms. There were rural areas in America where an animal would die on the farm. And so death was not hidden. Now we are in a society where everything is pristine. We don't want to talk about it. We want to rush through it. And so we don't talk about it. And so then it makes it awkward. But if we have these conversations that death is normal, we heal ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Rhonda, what is crying all about? I mean, a lot of people, hey, I'm a guy. I was a Marine. I don't cry. Is it good to cry? What's the therapy about it? Is it good for you? And how much of it is not good for you?
I personally feel like crying is normal. It's natural, especially in a situation, where you're losing a loved one. So I would say, yes, that's a very normal emotion to feel.
How do you know, Rhonda, when it's time to encourage someone to come and talk with someone like you? How do you, as a family member, maybe it might be time for you to have a conversation with someone that can give you more assistance? Yeah,
I would say if it's, if the person is struggling with their ability to function in their day-to-day life, beyond like a couple of weeks or, it's been a few months and they're still like not able to, go to work, or they're not taking care of things at home, like they're having significant struggles in their ability to function in their day-to-day life, that would kind of send off some alarms, like, maybe they need a little more help.
And what do you do if someone's resistant? They do not want to talk with someone, but the family members are acknowledging that they should.
I think just try to like open their eyes up. Like, hey, we care about you. I see that you're really struggling, and I want to help you get better. So I've set this appointment up for you, or something to that effect.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the other thing too, I can jump in, is we also need to understand sometimes the nature of the loss also will dictate the type of grief that the person goes through. So when I meet with families who come in and they've lost somebody, and they may have had a family member that's been struggling, say, with an illness for many, many years, they've already gone through all of the stages of grief while they're here, and they're already in the acceptance. And I sit down with them and I say, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss of your mom." And they'll say, "That's okay. Thank you so much. She's in a better place. She's not in pain anymore." So they're kind of at that place too. So you kind of have to think about the nature of the loss too, because it's not always just, they die from cancer or something. There's these tragedies too. So that also comes into play too, how we as funeral director professionals, or the chaplain or doctor here might deal with that type of grief too.
Hey, Rhonda, you said there were 5 phases of grief. Can you go over those 5 and kind of walk us down the road there?
Yeah, absolutely. So 5 stages of grief. There's denial. So that looks like, this can't be happening. You're feeling numb, and that's really like your mind's way of kind of protecting you from this significant loss. Then there's anger. That looks like sometimes, you could have anger directed at the person, like, oh, if they just would have listened to me. It could be directed at the person or just the circumstance. It's not fair. There's the bargaining, if only I had done this, like maybe this wouldn't have happened. The depression phase, that looks like, the deep sadness, crying, withdrawal, not really wanting to do much. And then finally we get to acceptance, where, you're able to talk about the person and, remember them in a meaningful way without, getting too choked up.
Okay. All right. And what would be a normal timeline to go through those 5 phases? Like Sal said, it varies, because some of those, if it was a long, torturous death of disease and illness and all that kind of thing, versus a sudden death to it. But with let's take it with a kind of a sudden death. How fast do you get through those 5 phases?
I mean, it's very personal, there's a lot of different factors that are going to play a role. So there's really no correct timeline. Like, it can take, up to a year to grieve someone, or even longer, depending what happened. Was it anticipated? Was it sudden? So there's no real time frame. Everybody's going to grieve in a different way.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, Rhonda, we hope you feel better, and thanks for joining us by phone. And everybody in the studio,
thank you, Rhonda.
They thank you for not bringing your germs in.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So any final words from Sunshine Psychiatric Care, Rhonda Richardson?
It's just important to remember that, death is normal, and it's going to happen, and it's normal to be upset and grieve, but it's important to continue to take care of yourself, so that, you can move forward in a way that is conducive to you having a good life. It's that's it.
All right. Okay. And give a plug here for Sunshine Psychiatric Care. If somebody, would like to talk with you personally, how can they get a hold of Rhonda Richardson?
Yeah, so you can give us a call at 386-230-4448, or feel free to visit us online at www.sunshinepsychcare.com.
Hey, Rhonda, off the subject, I saw that you have a hyperbaric chamber in your office. Is that true?
Yes.
All right, we're going to talk a different time about that.
That's right.
No, I have heard.
I want to know more.
I've heard some really crazy things with veterans and how they're very good for all kinds of things. So we'll do a different show on your hyperbaric chamber, okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Have a good weekend. Take care. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back and get our final comments and words of wisdom mostly we need it from our chaplain here today, Makeba Garrison with AdventHealth. Also, we have got Sal Passalaqua with Craig-Flagler Palms, and my co-host, who might be a regular, Brian.
That's me.
All right, and we'll see, Michelle Bartlome. We'll be right back.
Need help navigating through the mortgage process? I'm here for you. This is Mike Akialis with American Home Mortgage Group in Flagler Beach, serving the community for over 22 years. Call me 793-5435 or find me online at michael.mortgage.
No matter what time you reach out to Craig-Flagler Palms Funeral Home and Flagler Memorial Gardens, when you call, you'll talk to a real person on the phone. Every loved one is treated as a special person, cherished by family and friends. Hundreds of families each year choose CFP. Learn more about all their services at dignitymemorial.com.
Hun, we need to stop putting off getting life insurance.
I know. It's just been so busy, and I'm sure the cost is out of our budget.
Well, Jen told me that they got a $500,000 term life insurance policy from Ethos for less than $23 a month. All online with no complicated forms and no medical exam. All they had to do was answer a few health questions.
Wait, no medical exam and all online?
I know, right? It's not easy to think about, but if something happened to you, James and I would be...
Okay, I get it. Let's get a quote from Ethos right now. Wow, you were right. There's no medical exam, and Ethos makes the whole online process fast and easy. And look at these rates and coverage options. It's great protection and totally fits our budget.
Ethos. They've removed all the barriers from getting coverage. Go to checkethos.com to get your free online quote. That's checkethos.com. Quote based on a healthy, non-smoking 30-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
Locals know where locals go.
Looking for a place for your next event, or do you need catering? Look no further than Johnny D's. We're waiting for you.
Johnny D's Beach Bar and Grill. We're waiting for you.
Well, we're back and wrapping it up here. Good conversation. Really enjoyed it. Sal Passalaqua, good to have you in the studio.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks to Craig-Flagler Palms, all the great things you've done and being a big part of the community and helping out in so many different ways.
It's our pleasure. That's what we're here for.
That, yeah. And also for being one of my sponsors from day one when nobody wanted to sponsor it.
No. We love it. Community calendar is a great thing. One of the best things we can do for the community. So we appreciate doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you have a charity and a nonprofit and you're doing something and you can't afford any advertising, give us a call. And thanks to Craig-Flagler Palms, they buy the airtime. And
that's wonderful.
We put it on the air for you.
Yeah, I know. We know they appreciate it. We get a lot of good phone calls and cards, and people walk in the funeral home and thank us for that. So we're here to support all those not-for-profits.
All right, great. Good partnership there. Well, I apologize because I pronounced your name wrong on the promo. I said Makeba Garrison, and it's Makeba.
That's right.
So
not a problem.
I will never.
You'll not get it wrong again, David.
I know.
You think my name he would have messed up, but for all these years he's finally got it.
Well, you've been here for a long time now, huh, Sal?
Yes.
Oh yeah. No, I like saying Sal Passalaqua.
That's right.
I know. I like the last name's got a good roll to it there.
It does.
So, Makeba, welcome to Palm Coast and
Thank
with
you.
AdventHealth. If somebody would like to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of the chaplain?
Michelle, do you have the phone number offhand?
So anyone that's in the hospitals, obviously, they're going to be rounding throughout, as you heard her talk about earlier. So anyone that's able to come over to the hospital, if they want to visit with the chaplains, they'll visit with anyone of all backgrounds and all faith as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was cool. I just, I'm not I'm not an Adventist, I'm like I say, I'm a generic Christian. But I was at had a doctor, it was like a checkup type of thing. And he said, he goes, is it okay if I pray with you?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
right.
Sure. Why not? I've never had a doctor, offer that. And then it was cool, short little prayer and everything. So I think that's a nice touch, having a faith-based
it's very special
organization here. And you don't have to be Advent to get the benefits of
Absolutely.
Of a
I have never worked for an organization that lives the vision, right? To extend the healing ministry of Christ. And they say that. They don't hide from it. They don't back down from it. And so it is with pride that I go to a company that supports my personal theology. And so it's a beautiful thing. AdventHealth is a blessing to the community. And like you said, where do you go where a physician will say, hey, let's pause and pray before we go through this. And I know it made you feel better.
Yeah, well, he asked, if, you could have said, no, thanks, I'm good.
Right,
But
right.
it was like, well, sure,
Right.
how nice. And it was asked in a real kind of a cool way. And anyway, and then
Not intrusive.
Yeah, and the girl in the room, with him taking the notes and everything, she prayed too. And I thought, well, that was really cool. I walked out feeling good about it. So keep it up is all I can say. All right. Well, my new co-host, Brian, too bad. Michelle Bartlome, give us some words of wisdom.
I'm so glad to be here, David. Thanks for allowing me to join you yet again. And I hope to come back and visit and join you maybe again in the future.
Well,
Brian.
maybe next Friday we'll see you. Everybody, have a good weekend. Friday Night Football live tonight here. High school football on WNZF with Rich Carroll and Mike Licio. And take care. Be kind. Be safe.
Have a good day.
Thank you.